Welcome to the Upshot, Multi-World Disc Golf's podcast about the latest in the disc golf world. I'm the editor, Charlie Eisenhood. Joining me, as always, is Josh Mansfield. And back with us is Dan Prentice as we get ready to break down our fantasy draft from the 2025 season, see who won, and, curse the players who didn't do well for us. Dan, welcome.
Thanks, Charlie. It's been a really interesting couple days for me. I was supposed to fly home back to North Carolina yesterday after visiting my sister in Chicago, but my flight was in the 10% of cuts.
No.
That I found out after being in the hour-and-a-half long line of security. So that was cool.
No.
Wait a minute. They didn't cancel it until, you were literally at the airport an hour before your flight?
Yep. Yeah.
Whoa.
And everything, flying here was fine because everything was we'll let you know 2 days in advance, and I was totally fine. And everything said for yesterday, check before you head to the airport. Check before you head to the airport. Check while I'm on the train. Check while I'm going through security so I know which gate to go to. Between leaving security and getting to my gate, they canceled my flight.
Oh no! And it was a shutdown cancellation and not like weather or something.
Yep. Yeah, fully just the FAA 10% cut of flights. Yeah, pretty brutal. Pretty tough, but I have this to look forward to. I get to do a victory lap here today, so that's keeping my spirits high.
All right. I was ready to blackball Dan and just be like, he's not coming on for a recap. But then the scores got so close that now Dan and I get to dunk on Charlie, and I was like, okay, glass half full over here.
God bless it. All right. Well, obviously we're not burying the lead as Dan immediately starts gloating as soon as he gets here. I hope you never get a flight home. I hope all of your flights are canceled.
You know what, Charlie? That feels possible at this stage. So,
final scores: Dan 166, Josh 160. It was very close. Charlie 112. Let's get to what happened here. I guess, Dan, you've been following this closer than us because you've been in the lead, and so you've been updating all the stuff and everything. How would you assess how things went and why you ended up winning in the end?
Well, we kind of talked about this at our update right before the European Disc Golf Festival when we did our waivers. I had mounted a truly massive lead, largely due to Holland Handley and Kristen Latt's dominance in the first half. And then Kristen Latt happened, and Holland really kind of struggled, wasn't getting wins, wasn't getting podiums down the stretch for the large part. And Josh just started racking up massive majors was the big thing for him. In particular, he had an absolutely colossal USDGC in Throw Pink where he posted the highest single score of the entire season. He had both winners and 3 more podiums, it looks like, and then a few more top 10. So just a huge USDGC. I had a true moment of panic. I thought despite Kristen leaving me, I still had done enough to hold him off. And then as I'm adding the totals for USDGC Throw Pink, I have a heart and throat moment where I'm like, oh gosh, did he actually catch me here? After the end of USDGC Throw Pink, he had a 4-point lead. Or I had a 4-point lead. Sorry, I had a 4-point lead, which at the halfway point had been a 50-60 point lead, I think. And I did win DGPT by 2 points. I honestly wasn't sure if we were counting DGPT or not. To me, that felt like the playoffs and fantasy. You don't usually count the actual playoffs.
If I had
won, mattering.
If I had won after USDGC, I would have told you we weren't counting the DGPT.
Yeah, no, Josh really gave me a scare. And, I kind of blame him because he was putting that hoodoo in the air saying, the only way Dan is going to lose is if Kristen has some spiritual moment and walks away from the game at Euro Disc Golf Festival. And that he was only one a couple tournaments early for that. So, it very nearly worked.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean... I'm just looking back at the way things shook out. I mean, first of all, surprisingly to me, the top scoring FPO player was not Holland. Yeah, I would have thought it was going to be Holland, but it was Silva in the end. I guess Holland's lack of major win probably holds her back slightly. And And Missy Gannon also outscored Holland in the end. It was close. 38 points to Handley, 40 to Missy, and 43 to Silva Saarinen. So Josh, with Gannon and Saarinen on his team, ends up scoring over 100 points from his FPO side. You were just behind that, Dan, with 96, and I had 67. My big mistake was that I should have taken Silva. Mm-hmm. Like I took the best player overall in the end. I had Gannon Burr number 1 overall, and that was the right pick.
That is the right number 1 overall.
I don't think anybody really could have foreseen Kristen, bailing at the 2/3 mark of the season.
I mean,
other than Josh.
You did not say she was going to bail 2/3 of the way through the season. You never said that.
I only said it in just at the waiver show.
Right. So Gannon Burr scored 51 points. He was the top scorer. Was Silva number 2 in our draft? And probably period?
Yes, I believe so, yeah.
How about that? 43 for Saarinen. But yeah, then I took Evelina and Owen with my next 2 picks, and Owen was a fine pick in the end.
Above 30 points, I think it's great. But
Evelina was not, and really, I think I did myself in with my just brutal MPO picks. Besides Gannon, I scored a net 0 with the rest of my MPO 5 players. How insanely bad is that?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty
Kyle
bad.
Klein was the only other player to score me positive points. Evan Smith, Eagle McMahon, Corey Ellis, and Adam Hammis, both those last 2 guys I picked up at the deadline, and they just played not good the rest of the way. So negative points for me there. Awful.
Players who were available for options for you at the 3rd and 4th round, you could have taken Nicholas Antala at 21, Isaac Robinson 24, Paul Macbeth, who scored 24.
Yeah, to go back to the context of the draft, I felt like I needed to take some FPO because Kristen, Missy, and Holland had all come off the board.
Yeah.
And I got 2 picks. I guess I could have hedged my bets and taken like a Calvin or an AB who went right after I took.
No. Remember, we did the I don't remember what Dan calls it. So
third round reversal.
The 3rd round reversal. Oh. So I went 1st and 3rd round, and I got AB, and then Calvin went off the board. So that's what I'm saying.
I took Ev, and then AB and Calvin went off the board, and then I took Owen and Kyle Klein. So I mean, obviously Correct. Kyle Klein not a good pick in the end.
That was your mistake. Kyle Klein should have been replaced with Nicholas, Isaac, or Paul.
In hindsight, I'm like, what was I thinking? Like, but
or Ezra too, right? Ezra would have been a better pick. Oh no, Ezra did score lower than Kyle. That's kind of surprising.
That is surprising.
Yeah.
He had some bad minus
too many
finishes.
negatives. Yeah,
too many negatives. Yep.
But yeah, very interesting. So Calvin was the 2nd best MPO pick, right? 30 points. And then Barella at 27, Macbeth at 24, Isaac Robinson at 24. And so like those were the consensus, like the best MPO players. Not that any of this should be particularly surprising.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, very, very interesting. I'm terribly disappointed. Like Evan Smith, 0 points. Like he's a mystery. It's like
a mystery.
He's like, I'm guaranteed to finish 15th every week. I'm really good, but I'm never going to do great. And it describes him as a player, right? That he scored 0 in fantasy, despite being a talented disc golfer. He just doesn't have the ceiling to, and like he's not a good fantasy pick. Do not pick him next year, folks.
This probably is mean, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I do think it's funny that both of your waiver wire picks lost you points. I don't know if James and Matty O. I mean, it looks like they would have lost you. I don't know what they would have lost you. Probably more, but yeah, it's tough that both your swaps ended up worse for you or ended up poorly.
Yeah, neither panned out.
There's probably some player who I could have picked up that would have been a lot better choice, but like one of the Euros, maybe.
No one on our radar at the time.
No. Well, do we like the way we did the scoring? What do you guys think?
So the only qualm that I had with the scoring was, I think at times the -1 felt punitive. I mean, it was like in MPOs, if you didn't finish in the top, for what would qualify for the championship.
Top 32, I think.
32, yeah.
Yeah.
32 and 20.
Which for FPO, finishing below that does feel like a good punishment. Like if you're finishing outside the top 18 in FPO, that feels like a bad weekend. There are times, though, when if you finish 33rd, that really doesn't feel that bad. That feels more like a 0 performance than a -1 performance, at least for our scoring. So I wonder if there's something we could do with the scoring for next year where I don't know if the first minus cutoff comes at missing cash or if there's an extra minus for missing cash. Because it did feel weird that like if you finished 33rd, it was the same penalty for finishing 76th. It didn't quite feel reflective of how weekends really feel. But I think otherwise, I really like the scoring. Like getting wins was super valuable, but not so overpowered that it would wipe out a couple podium finishes, which feels right to me. I really like the double points for majors. That felt very reflective of how we value majors on the season. So yeah, I mean, I know I'm biased because I won, but I really liked the scoring for the most part. I think just a little tweaking on how we punish would be a little bit better for next year, but not major.
And perhaps we should do a little bit more gradation of the scoring just overall. What we did? We did 3 points.
4 for wins, 2 for podiums, 1 for top 10, and then double points on that for
and maybe we
majors.
do like half point for 10 to 32, talking about MPO.
Or do 4, 3, 2, 1.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Where like there's a little bit more benefit to be having like a solid weekend.
Yeah.
And like less of a harsh penalty for, maybe if it's your 33rd to 60th, it's minus a half point.
Yeah.
And if it's worse than 60th, it's minus 1 point or something like that. I mean, you're right that the bright line cutoffs felt a little bit tough, especially for somebody like, Mr. Evan Smith.
Yeah, the way I had to feel about it was that like a 0 is pretty fine. If I'm dodging the minuses, then that still feels like a win, especially for like my back end of draft picks. And I don't think that's like the end of the world, but I do think like just it feels better to get a point than a 0, even if like the net is kind of a wash there.
I also think there's an argument that we should do like 4 and 4 instead of. We did 6 and 4, right? MPO, FPO. I don't know. It felt like we all ended up with like negative points for the back end of our MPO picks. At which point, it's like maybe we just drafted too deep. At least with our scoring system,
we either need to edit the score system, like the scoring method, because to your point, Charlie, we had 6 players in MPO, and none of our MPO benches outscored our FPO.
Right.
Because just the difficulty and like the depth of the MPO field means that it's harder for them to score points in this structure.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain FPO players that you can basically guarantee are going to finish in the top 10 every single tournament.
Yeah,
and they're going to win.
It's easier to lock up points in FPO for sure.
So
and I think even some if you adjust MPO scoring but not FPO scoring, I think that would make a little bit of sense. I do think MPO should go deeper than FPO. As a reflection of the same thing, that MPO
of course
is deeper than FPO. So I
maybe
I
we
think,
go 5 and 4 instead of 6 and 4. I don't know. I just feel like looking at our scores, right? We all had negative players, and maybe that's just like part of the game. It's like there's risk.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe the right idea for MPO is if you finish in the top 32, there's an extra point, or there is a point, and then we do up from there. And then FPO stays at top 10 because I mean seriously, of the 12 people. Well, so what we're drafting? What are we drafting here? So we draft 12 FPO players, 10 of whom can score points every week. We drafted 18 MPO players, 10 of whom can score points. So maybe that reflection needs to be top 15, top 20. And slide it down further so that it's a similar ratio of who can score.
Good point. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you look some of the back end picks from our draft: Gavin Rathbun, James Proctor, Jakub Semerad. Like, we were kind of like, we don't really know who
darts
to pick here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, for the top weighted fantasy style that we played, which I think is the right thing to do, maybe we just need to trim one set of picks and we go 5 and 4. I don't think there's any problem with doing an odd number. And it feels like it a little bit more accurately reflects the balance. But I don't know. We will discuss in the off season. What do you feel like was your best overall pick? Everyone should name their best pick, and that can be value related, not just top
right,
scoring.
Of course. I think Calvin. I think getting Calvin in the third round, ultimately the reason I won was because Kristen and Holland were so dominant in that first half. I was almost threw it all away at the end, but they did just enough. But getting Calvin as the fourth MPO pick and my top MPO pick was hugely valuable for me. And I can't remember which of you guys said it, or maybe someone said it in the Discord that this feels like Calvin's worst year, but also his best year because it was his least consistent year. But he got his two biggest wins of his career. So getting the major win was huge in terms of points because he didn't get any other wins otherwise until the Tour Championship. But just one of those guys, he was top 10 for me every single week, had some good podiums. And I think, did we say he finished as the number 2 MPO pick? So getting him as the 4th pick was super valuable for me.
Macbeth in round 7 has to be my best pick.
that was insane. Yeah, that was the best pick of the draft.
I think easily. All of the rest of our 7 through 10 round picks were disasters, basically.
Yeah. But the best in that range is probably Paige, who I got last.
Yeah, you did get 12 points from Paige as your last overall pick.
Yeah, which not bad. But Macbeth in round 7 scoring 24 points was what? That was he was the second best on my team and tied for the fourth overall MPO. So yeah, I was happy with that in round 7.
Yeah, Paige scored more than 4 FPO players that went ahead of her, ahead of Henna, ahead of Cat Merch, ahead of Anakin, who you picked right before her, Josh. So yeah, 12 doesn't seem like a lot, but if you're scoring higher than anyone with your last pick in a field, which that's a big part of why you came so close to beating me. Paige had a great, especially second half of the year.
Yeah. Yep.
I think, honestly, it's boring, but my best pick was Gannon. Because I had let's be honest, right? I was picking between Gannon and Kristen. Mm-hmm. And I think there was some skepticism at the time that Gannon was the right choice. Obviously, couldn't have looked into the crystal ball and seen that Kristen was going to drop out of the season. But I think I still would have scored better with Gannon than Kristen, even if she had to continue to play and even won another tournament or two. But he scored 8 points more than the next best player and almost 20 points more than the next best MPO player. Or no, 21 points more, literally, than Calvin. So I will have to hang my hat on that and just avert my eyes from the rest of my picks.
I think the own pick was the other good one. That was a good call. Well, you could have taken Silva.
Yeah. Or Missy.
No, Missy was gone. Missy was gone.
Okay.
Missy, Kristen, Holland were gone.
Kristen, Missy, and Holland were off the board, and I went with Evelina, which I think at the beginning of the season made sense. She'd had a really good 2024.
Sure. So did the Henna pick, honestly, at the beginning of the season.
Shut up, Josh.
It's don't worry, Charlie. I
there
promise.
Weren't that many players left.
2026 is her year. 2026 is her year.
I think one thing we have to agree on is that Charlie did not finish in last because of his FPO picks.
No.
Yeah, it was because of all of his MPO picks post Gannon. Really, just
literally gave me zero total points combined.
Yeah.
That's not that cannot be the thing.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, after Calvin, Dan scored 40, and after Ricky, who is Josh's top pick, who wasn't his best scoring player.
No.
Josh scored 39. So that's literally the deficit that I lost by, basically.
That is. You give yourself 40 points and it's a whole different
I'm
ballgame.
cooked.
The Upshot is presented by Pound, makers of the best bag in disc golf. As you prepare for your holiday trips, make sure you pick up a Pound overnighter. The small duffel bag is perfect for weekend trips. When I travel, I use it for my first night essentials so that I don't have to unpack the car when I arrive after a long night of travel. All of my essentials are in one bag and I can grab it and go. The overnighter, though it can also be used for discs, lacks the plastic frame of the traditional toolbox, which means that when it's time to store, it can fold flat, occupying minimal space. Whether for yourself or a gift for someone else, the overnighter is an ideal travel accessory, both on and off the course. Remember Pound, makers of the best bag in disc golf.
So it'll be fun next year. I mean, who will be the number one pick next season? Let's look into the crystal ball. I mean, is it guaranteed to be Gannon? Yeah. I don't think it would be crazy to pick Silva.
It would be insane to pick Silva.
You think?
Yeah. I don't think she's even guaranteed to be the top FPO player next year.
Yeah. I think that's the problem.
I think not, but she's literally scored 43 points this season.
She did.
And now there's no Kristen. She's going to mop points in Europe. Like, I don't know. I don't think it would be
the European stretch is shorter
totally
this year,
insane.
Though.
I mean, listen, we've got a lot of offseason to think about it, but didn't it feel like Gannon kind of left some stuff out there this year? Like, I don't think we even saw Gannon's best this year. So, he clearly was the best player, but I could easily see him, outscoring himself next year.
It's true.
His ceiling is the highest ceiling, and his floor is the highest floor. So,
did you watch some of the match play and watch him?
I did not. I was in Chicago all weekend, so I did not get to see any of it.
Well,
go give him a watch.
Threw some unbelievable shots at Hornets Nest.
Yeah,
that guy doesn't.
Did not win though, right? Ezra won.
No, yeah, he lost to Ezra Robinson round 2.
I was following scores a little bit, but didn't actually get to see any of the action.
All right. Well, this was fun. This was definitely more fun than last year.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
We'll reconvene next season to do our updated fantasy picks. Okay, so fine. Who are the next 3 picks after Gannon?
That's where it gets interesting.
Just like fire from the hip right now.
Missy Hall and
got months
Silva.
to think about it.
Yeah,
I think it'll be the 3 FPO players, not like a Calvin or an AB. Because the concern would be that they cannibalize too much, like the wins from each other.
The thing is, though, I mean, unless MPO is drastically different than it has been the last few years, there just isn't going to be one person dominating the wins, and or even podiums, right? And that's the big difference. It's not necessarily that they get all the wins in FPO; it's that they pretty much dominate podiums, and it's way easier to just pick a couple players that are going to get podium more than half the season, and that's I think where the safer picks are. I can't say what the order will be. I think that will be probably personal preference of those 3, but I do think they're the next 3 after Gannon.
I think the best upside pick is Holland. Mm-hmm. She showed us at the beginning and the end of this year that she's the best player in FPO right now.
Yeah, highest ceiling for sure.
And that doesn't mean she's going to win Player of the Year, but if she takes the next step and manages her mental side of the game, she could be a dominant force next year.
Keep doubting Big Money Missy. It's fine with me. It's fine with me.
This actually, maybe this is too much of a tangent for this little update, but this brings up a question that I've had with this season, more so in line with Ella Hansen, who I feel like we had this perception of Ella and Holland as both being, they're still pretty new to the sport, but I think both in their 30s, right? Yeah. So I'm really curious to see where does the new to the sport growth kind of intersect with the leaving your physical prime decline and how that affects players getting better. Can we see Holland take another step, or is she kind of what she's going to be because of the age thing. I'm really, really curious to see. I think maybe one of the bigger storylines going into next year.
I just think that the peak of FPO disc golf is probably like 35 years old. Like
that may be true. Yeah.
The reason, and that's not physical prime, right? Maybe you've given up 10, 15, 20 feet of distance at that point, but that's not the decision maker for FPO like success. I mean, Owen Scoggins is a perfect example of that, right?
Yeah.
She's like getting just enough distance and is doing everything else so well that she can still win a world championships. And so I actually think, like, obviously there's these exciting young players, and, you know, if you have somebody like Ellie Mittling come up who can throw it way further than everybody else, like, that is obviously a huge advantage. But it just doesn't feel like we're watching the Gannon Burr 21-year-old come in and dominate. Like, Silva's young, but her game is not like explosive distance. Her game is more Owen Scoggins-esque. But I just don't think that the age curve is that steep in FPO. I'm not sure why that is relative to MPO.
Yeah, no, I do think that maybe there are more MPO layouts that are asking for a bigger distance advantage.
Sure.
I'm not sure. I also think we're still... I do think that there's a chance this changes in FPO, right? Where, like, because FPO is now kind of catching up, where, like, you're starting to get these young players that have been playing disc golf competitively for a much longer time than they used to be. Whereas MPO, you know, has maybe been at that stage for like 4 or 5 years, maybe a little bit more. So I do wonder if that trend changes for FPO, where you do really have to have been playing a long time and break through a young age.
But I also think there's just like more room to make up like strokes gained by improving your putting in FPO than there is in MPO.
That is arguably true.
Like, there's just the skill gaps between first in a category and 15th in a category are pretty wide compared to MPO.
Very true. Very, very true.
So, you know, you have a handful of players who are 20% plus C2 putters in FPO. Like, if somebody can get their game really improved in that area, that could buy them 2-3 strokes around.
Yeah. 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 And there's no reason you can't do that when you're 35, really.
Exactly my point.
Yes.
Exactly my point. That's not really an age-related skill. That's like a disc golf skill. That is
Owen Scoggins.
Right.
All right. Well, this was fun. Dan, thanks for joining us for this, and we'll look forward to having you back for the storylines episode and the gaffs bracket if you're down for it.
You know I'm down for gaffs. Come on.
Okay,
that's the best show of the year.
It really is.
It is the best.
I was telling Josh this year we will do no discussion beforehand. Like, I will seed the bracket, or I will have Josiah seed the bracket, and we will not discuss any of it until we're actively on the air. Mm-hmm. None.
Perfect.
And that way we get the true reacts for everybody's gaffdom. Okay, awesome. Dan Prentice, thank you so much. And thanks everybody for tuning in. And let us know what you think we could do differently with fantasy. And maybe we can find a way. I'm wondering if subscribers can play along with us in some way. It's like a little difficult because we do a draft.
Yeah. We would have to make pods and then update universal scoring, and then they update their own pool.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we have the picks competition, and we're going to be making some changes to that next year. There's going to be monthly champions and season-long champion, and we're going to tweak the scoring for that as well. But I really liked overall. I thought it was great to have the 1x, 1.25, 1.5, 2x. I think we have to dial back on the 5x, probably to maybe 3x, because it was just too many European players who were like too overpowered in the middle of the season. I mean, that was kind of specifically a problem this year with how much Europe there was, but overall it was just too easy to find 5x value.
Yeah.
Okie doke. That's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for being with us, and we will talk to you again very soon.